October the 2nd, 2024. Guys, you're looking at the latest update this afternoon at 1:36 p.m. Eastern Time from the National Hurricane Center in Miami, Florida. Really don't like reporting on any storms right now because we got so many people still without power. People missing. Over 100 people have lost their lives, and reports are saying just a few days ago there were maybe 1,000 missing. Seen some terrible videos of people being washed away in their vehicles. And if you don't think, guys, that we're getting very close to something happening major on this planet, you're seeing it start right now, because you're seeing events that in the last 100 years in the mountains of North Carolina and South Carolina, Tennessee, has not happened. One of the comments in the last video about this, one of you guys was telling me I think your grandfather maybe was 90 plus years old, and he's never seen it that high. But our guys, my prayers go out to all of you, all your families up there. There's been so much destruction that we just hope that people are getting enough supplies in there. I know a lot of things that I've read is talking about how the Biden administration is not doing too much, and they're relying on a lot of people that are private, flying planes, helicopters in, getting things trucked in. And why would Biden say yesterday that we've done all we can't do any more, but you can do as much as trillions of dollars worth of things for Ukraine? That tells you the evil that's controlling our country. And we're seeing a battle right now in all the really battleground states on voting rules and regulations. And a lot of Republicans are getting aboard, realizing that if you've got to fight fire with fire, and they're trying to make it illegal for mass mail-in votes and illegal votes, all of that. There's a big battle right now. It's interesting, and it's going to have to be really big. Too big to rig is some of the things, but it's going to have to be a massive turnout. But we're just going to have to see how this works out. It could create chaos in the nation. Is that the end goal? Now, let's go back to the storm situation here. During Helene, the storm we're talking about, we saw the same setup. So just hear me out. We saw it start to form, or they thought it was going to form in the Caribbean, big orange glob out here, and then slowly moved into the Gulf and through the peninsula, and then up into the Gulf of Mexico area, the Bay of Campeche. This thing has done the same thing. And I'm probably older than most of the meteorologists that are out there that you see on TV. And I've watched these for a long time, and you've watched them with me now, maybe 14 years, 13, 14 years, I can't remember. We've never seen this come in here back to back. Usually when they number storm or start to see this type of information coming out, this wide, undefined section, we don't see that until this year. And that really makes me lean into the probability of people sitting there with the hands on the controls of whatever weather manipulation machines are out there, whether it's satellite, ground-based, naval-based, whatever, and saying we've got the conditions right here in the Caribbean, and as this system moves up into the Gulf, let's hit it as many times as we can, trying to use the heat of the water, the turbulence of the air, mix it in with the fronts coming in, and create something. That's why they've left this, to me, without the X, is a big question mark. Let's see what we can do. And I can just see them like the original Frankenstein movie. They kept hitting him with electricity from the lightning bolts until they finally got enough to get it going. Very similar situation, I think, in what we're seeing now. Notice the thumbnail. But let's look at what's really going on, and we may have a combination of both things happening. The right natural ingredients, and then the ingredients that are added by man. Now, these are the latest images over the Gulf of Mexico and the Caribbean. And again, let's go back to the Frankenstein thing. They keep hitting it, keep hitting, and keep doing different things until they create monsters. And so they started out getting us to watch the Caribbean. Then now it's pretty much into the Gulf and the Bay of Campeche as far as the orange glob of uncertainty, which kills me. Anyway, we've got circulation here south of Cuba. That's why I warned at the beginning of the video. They were talking about interest in the Gulf and the Yucatan. Watch this, but I'm telling you, Cuba, parts of Jamaica, the Grand Caymans, watch this. You've got rotation right here. Again, have they created a monster? Also, right here, we're going to change some of these filters. You'll see it. And then one again in the very center. Right in this area, right there. Let me speed it up. And that's always a good way, even if you're looking at movement in the heavens from stars. High speed will tell you the movement very quickly. Look at this coming up towards Cuba. Now, I would say, looking at the way everything's setting up, if this system moves across Cuba, it very possibly might skirt the tip of Florida, but it looks like with the movement we're seeing here, notice these clouds telling you there's very cool air coming in for the fall. But this could be caught up, this system, and moved out to the Atlantic. But right here, again, if you just pay attention to it a moment, you're going to see a rotation point here in the Bay of Campeche, and right there. Check that out. I'll speed it up just one more notch. This one's obvious, even the tailing of it. This could be a very powerful storm if it has time to develop. Now, it's going to go over the wider sections of Cuba, more mountainous, more land area, and that will tear them apart. But we have, again, they're kind of, it's like you're betting on something, but you bet on everything on the table, right? Maybe we can make it happen in the Bay of Campeche. Maybe we can make it happen in the Caribbean or in the Gulf of Mexico. Just keep hitting it. Keep hitting that power. Whatever it is. I'm telling you, I've never seen them forecast these empty sections in the Caribbean and then going into the Gulf like this. Never. If you guys have seen it before, let me know. I haven't. And it's like they're saying, well, I think we can get something going there. So let's put that map there. Now, I expect in the next update from the National Hurricane Center that we will see that orange glob maybe go to red, go above 50%, maybe into the 60%. Now, let's first, and for some reason I think we need to at least understand what's going on here. This is the U.S. Navy model we've relied on for years. We know that because of money shipped overseas that a lot of our military, Navy, Air Force, Army has been depleted, maybe on purpose. But this is the Navy model. Guys, notice September the 11th, 911. This is Francine. They haven't done anything else. And again, what we're seeing is red states being hit heavily with these storms. Now, it's not unusual for this to happen. Of course, we've had storms all over the Gulf and all over the East Coast. They're getting a little different now, especially when you see for the first time in your life they're predicting storms in areas that it really doesn't look like it, and they'll stay there for a week. And that's what they've been doing with this new system. For a week in the Caribbean with nothing that even looked like a storm. But here is our Navy model. And guys, it'd probably be the last time. I don't care if they come back on tomorrow with super quantum computers. I don't think I will ever use that information again, because if it's this bad to where they get a call from D.C., turn off the information to the red states, because the Navy model was always one of the most accurate because they had the most vested interest. Then we'll just use what we got. And that's why instead of the models, I always try to go to the visual satellite images. Now, this is the latest update from the Canadian model. And they are showing your storms coming out of the Atlantic moving into the break of the high pressure here. Notice you've got orange and light orange. That's your pressure. They don't like that. They like to move to the north and back to the east. And that opening is allowing all that to happen. At the same time, again, I think we're dealing with a lot of confusion right now. Is this storm sitting here in the Bay of Campeche trying to form, kind of move towards Florida, then move back and towards Cuba, and then finally be pulled into this low pressure break right there? And what I'm seeing in this far out is from Tampa Bay south. Watch what is about to happen here. Again, if the high pressure stabilizes in this area, this storm may be one of the big Atlantic storms that make it to the East Coast. We know that as time goes out, this will change. But I think what we're seeing right now is confusion from the manipulators. But we're watching it. You watch it, and you can bet we're going to stay on top of this from now until the impact. It's a heads up. Be safe.